You've looked in the mirror your whole life and seen a face that belongs to people who don't quite see you. The same eyes, the same hair, the same skin. And still, somehow, the person staring back at you has always felt like a stranger, living among strangers. Even inside the house where you grew up, even inside the church where you were baptized, even inside the marriage you fought to keep, even inside the friend group you've been part of for 15 years. There's a quiet sentence that has been running underneath your whole life, a sentence you've been too afraid to say out loud. It goes like this: I don't belong here. I have never belonged here, and I don't think I ever will. I want you to stop being afraid of that sentence, because what most people would call a defect, heaven calls a signature. And the very thing that has made you feel out of place since you were old enough to recognize the feeling, the not fitting, the not blending, the not finding your tribe, that is not a wound, that is a marker. A divine watermark stamped on your soul before you took your first breath, designed to keep you separated for an assignment that nobody around you was ever supposed to be part of. My name is George, and I want to walk you through something that I wish someone had walked me through when I was 25. Sitting in a room full of family who loved me, and feeling more alone than I had ever felt in my life. I'm going to give you 7 reasons why you have never fit in, and why every single one of those reasons is a confirmation, not a curse. Somewhere in the middle of this video, I'm going to share something with you that I built specifically for chosen ones in your exact position. We'll get there when the Spirit makes it, the moment. But before any of that, I need you to settle something in your spirit right now. You were not the leftover. You were not the misprint. You were not the one God forgot to make in the same batch as everyone else. Out of every soul currently breathing on this planet, the overwhelming majority were built for ordinary assignments, and there is no shame in that. The kingdom needs gatekeepers. The kingdom needs servants. The kingdom needs steady, faithful, ordinary believers who raise their families, pay their bills, attend their churches, and live quiet lives that bless the people closest to them. That is a holy calling. But that is not your calling. And every time you've tried to make yourself fit into that shape, your spirit has rejected the costume, because the costume was never cut to your measurements. Let me give you the 7 reasons. Reason 1. Your family of origin was never your real tribe. They were your training ground. You've spent years wondering why you've always felt like a guest in your own bloodline. Like the conversations skip over you. Like the inside jokes don't quite land. Like you were raised by people who love you but cannot, no matter how hard they try, actually understand you. Stop blaming yourself for that gap, and stop resenting them for it. The gap was heaven's design. Abraham was born into a family of idol worshippers. His father Terah carved gods for a living. There was no one in that household, no one in that lineage, who could have prepared Abraham for the conversation God was about to have with him. So God said, "Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee." Heaven separated Abraham from the people who raised him because the assignment required a clean break. Your family was the womb you came through, not the destination you were built for. They gave you what they could, and the very fact that what they could give was never enough, that's the proof you were built for something they were never meant to understand. Reason 2. The friend groups that should have been your home felt rented from the moment you walked in. You joined the youth group at church. You joined the sports team in high school. You joined the office crew at your first real job. You moved to a new city and joined the new church there too. You signed up for the book club, the small group, the gym, the neighborhood association. And every single time, you played the part for a while. You laughed at the right jokes. You went to the right parties. You wore the right things. And the whole time, a quiet voice inside you was saying, these are not your people. The friendships felt rented, not owned. You could feel the lease running out before anyone else even noticed there was a lease. You'd find yourself driving home from gatherings, replaying the night, and wondering why you felt more alone leaving than you did arriving. David had this experience over and over. He was anointed as the next king of Israel when he was still a boy, oil running down his face from the prophet Samuel's horn, with nobody in his own family even thinking to invite him to the ceremony. They had left him with the sheep because they didn't think he qualified for the meeting. And from that anointing moment forward, he kept finding himself in rooms where he didn't quite fit. Saul's palace was not his palace, even when he was playing the harp at the king's bedside. Achish's court of the Philistines was not his court, even when he pretended to be insane to survive there. The cave of Adullam was where he ended up, surrounded by men who were broken, in debt, and discontented. Not a tribe most people would have chosen for the next king of a nation, but it was the tribe God assembled for him, and those misfits became his mighty men, the warriors who would one day stand around his throne. Sometimes the friend group that finally feels like home doesn't show up until you've outgrown the borrowed rooms. The rentals weren't a failure, they were stepping stones. Heaven didn't waste a single one of those failed connections. Each one was teaching you what to recognize when the real ones finally walked through the door. Reason 3. Romantic relationships have either consumed you or starved you, and both have left you alone. You've either dated people who needed too much, gave too little, and treated you like a resource, or you've been alone for stretches of time that felt cruel, watching everyone around you pair off while heaven kept you in a holding pattern you didn't ask for. Listen to me. There is a reason heaven has been so particular about who is allowed near you. Samson was a chosen one with a calling from the womb. An angel announced his birth. He was set apart as a Nazirite before he ever saw his mother's face, and his entire story collapses around the wrong woman. Delilah was not just a bad choice. She was an unauthorized soul tie to an assignment that was never hers to access. And when Samson finally gave in and let her into the inner chamber of his calling, the strength left him, the eyes were put out, and he ended up grinding grain in a prison cell. Heaven is not punishing you with singleness. Heaven is protecting you from soul ties that would dismantle the assignment on your life. The weight is not abandonment. The weight is jealousy. The jealous love of a father who refuses to let just anyone share a marriage bed with someone he has set apart. Reason 4. Money has behaved strangely in your life, and you can't explain it. You've worked hard. You've been faithful. You've tithed when you couldn't afford to tithe. You've made smart decisions. You've read the books. You've followed the budgets. You've done what disciplined adults are supposed to do. And still, money seems to come into your life in bursts and disappear in storms. The promotions that should have been yours go to someone less qualified. The opportunities that should have multiplied stall out. The seasons of plenty are always followed by seasons of unexpected drain. A car that breaks down the exact month the bonus comes in. A medical bill that erases the savings you finally built. A family member in crisis who needed help right when you thought you could rest. And meanwhile, you watch people who don't even pretend to honor God seem to prosper without effort. They get the houses. They get the trips. They get the careers. You've stood in line at the grocery store doing math in your head while watching someone ahead of you load up a cart without checking a single price. That is not failure. That is wilderness economics. Heaven runs a different ledger over chosen ones. He kept Elijah by a brook and sent ravens to feed him meat in the morning, bread in the evening, delivered by birds that should have eaten him instead, until the brook dried up on schedule and forced him into the next chapter. He sent him to a widow in Zarephath with 1 handful of flour and 1 drop of oil, a woman who was preparing her last meal before she expected to die, and made that handful and that drop last through an entire famine. He sent the Israelites manna in the desert that they couldn't store, couldn't stockpile, couldn't hoard. Whatever they tried to save overnight rotted by morning. Why? Because chosen ones cannot be trained to trust money. They have to be trained to trust the source. The strange behavior of money in your life is not a curse. It is a curriculum. Heaven is teaching you, through every shortage and every surprise provision, that your bread comes from a hand, not a system. And when the assignment finally breaks open, you won't crumble under sudden abundance the way most people would, because you'll have learned, in the wilderness, who actually feeds you, and you won't confuse the channel with the source ever again. Let me stop here for a moment, because I want to make sure you don't slide past what the Spirit is doing in you right now. God does not move things without purpose. If this message reached you today, there was a reason before you ever clicked. The secret protocol carries the 7 keys that reveal what was deposited in you before your birth and what the Spirit is beginning to awaken in this exact season. The full audiobook is included to walk with you in your quiet moments. And the Awakening Map, as a bonus, unveiling the 5 stages of spiritual awakening, where you have been, where you are, and what is coming. Link pinned in the first comment. But divine windows do not stay open indefinitely. I want to be clear with you. I didn't create that resource as a product. I created it as a map I needed myself, years ago, when I was lost in the same wilderness I just described. If something in you keeps leaning toward what I'm telling you, follow that lean. Heaven doesn't waste pulls. Let's keep walking. Reason 5. Church has felt complicated for you, even when you love God deeply. This one is uncomfortable. Because you do love God. You have always loved God. From the time you were a child, you have felt drawn to Him, hungry for Him, aware of Him in ways you couldn't articulate. And yet most of the churches you've walked into have felt half empty in the spirit, even when they were full in the pews. The worship felt rehearsed. The sermons felt safe. The community felt like a social club, with religious language layered on top of it. You'd shake hands at the door, smile through the small talk, and walk to your car feeling hungrier than when you walked in. And you've felt guilty about that for years. You've wondered what was wrong with you, why you couldn't just blend in like everyone else seems to. You've watched people clap and laugh and chat in the lobby, and you've thought, why can't I be like that? Hear me. The prophets were the loneliest people in the religious system of their day. Jeremiah was rejected by the priests of his own city. Isaiah was rejected by the kings he served, even though he was their best advisor. Ezekiel was given visions so strange that the religious establishment treated him like a madman. He saw wheels within wheels, 4-faced creatures, valleys of dry bones, and the religious crowd of his day rolled their eyes at him. John the Baptist, born into the priesthood by lineage, with every right to wear the temple robes, refused to live in the temple system. He went into the wilderness, wore animal skins, ate locusts, and called the religious leaders of his day a brood of vipers when they came out to evaluate him. If religious environments have felt thin to you, that's not because you have a bad attitude. That is because you have an unusually sensitive spiritual instrument, and that instrument can tell the difference between true presence and human performance from across a parking lot. You're not bitter at the church. You're hungry for the real thing, and heaven is going to lead you to it, sometimes in unexpected places, sometimes in tiny gatherings, sometimes in long seasons of you and Him alone, with the Word open and the music off. Don't despise the small rooms. Some of the most powerful encounters in the Bible happened in upper rooms, in caves, in the wilderness, far from the official sanctuaries. Reason 6. Pop culture has felt foreign to you, sometimes painfully so. The shows everyone is watching, you can't sit through. The music dominating every playlist, you turn off after 30 seconds. The trends everyone is chasing, you don't even understand the appeal of. The celebrities people worship feel hollow to you the moment you glance at them. The headlines that whip the masses into outrage somehow slide off of you. And for years, you've worried that you were out of touch, behind the times, missing some shared experience that everyone else got the memo for. You weren't missing the memo. You were never on the list. Lot lived in Sodom for years, surrounded by a culture that was busy celebrating everything heaven was grieving over, and the New Testament says his righteous soul was vexed day after day by what he saw. Vexed. That word means continually disturbed. He couldn't desensitize. He couldn't acclimate. He couldn't lower his standards down to the city's level. And when the angels came to pull him out, they had to physically take him by the hand because he was hesitating in a place he had never actually belonged. If pop culture grates on you, if every new wave of what's trending feels emptier than the last, that's not snobbery, that's vexation. And vexation in a chosen one is not a bad mood. It is the early warning system of a spirit that recognizes spiritual emptiness from a long way off. Reason 7. You've always known you were here for a reason, even when you couldn't name it. This is the one that lives the deepest. Underneath the not fitting, underneath the loneliness, underneath every season of confusion and every season of waiting, there has been a steady hum in your spirit that says, I am here for something. I just don't know what yet. Some of you have carried that hum since you were 5 years old. You couldn't have explained it to anyone. You barely understood it yourself. But the hum has never gone away. Even on your worst days, even when life broke you, even when you tried to numb it with relationships, with substances, with religion, with overwork, it never fully went silent. That hum is the voice of the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, reminding you that he has not forgotten what he put inside you. Jeremiah said it with his whole chest. His word was in mine heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. Translation: I tried to keep it down. I tried to be normal. I tried to shut up, and I couldn't. The fire wouldn't let me. If there's a fire in your bones that has never let you live a fully ordinary life, that is not a defect of your psychology. That is the seal of heaven on a soul that was chosen before the foundation of the world. 7 reasons. 7 layers of confirmation. Every one of them telling you the same thing: you have never fit in, because you were never built to fit in. And every time you've tried to force yourself into the shape that other people wear comfortably, your spirit has refused, because heaven made you a key, not a brick. Bricks are interchangeable. Bricks are stackable. Bricks are anonymous. Keys are specific. Keys open one door each, and the door you were built to open has been waiting for you your whole life. Out of all the souls walking this earth right now, only a small remnant are wired the way you are wired. Most lives are not asked to carry this kind of separation. Most callings allow for blending. Yours doesn't. And the not blending is not a punishment, it is a preservation. Heaven has been keeping you uncontaminated for what is coming. Paul wrote it like this: What concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Come out. Be separate. The blessing on your life has always been on the other side of the willingness to stop trying to fit. The day you stop chasing the approval of rooms you were never meant to be approved in is the day heaven starts opening rooms that were specifically built for you. There's something else I want to tell you, and I think you need to hear it tonight. The loneliness you have felt in your life was never wasted. Every dinner where you felt like you were across a glass wall from the people you love. Every social event you left early and cried in the car about. Every time you tried to explain yourself to someone who looked back at you with blank eyes. Every Christmas where you smiled through the meal and grieved on the drive home. Every birthday where the right phone call never came. None of it was wasted. All of it was preparation. The chosen one who learns to be at peace alone with God is the chosen one heaven can finally trust with influence. Most people break the moment success isolates them. You won't, because you've already lived through the isolation. You've already made friends with the silence. You've already learned to find God in the cave. And when the door opens, and it will open, you will walk into the next chapter with a steadiness that the rest of the world will not be able to imitate. Here is what I want you to do before this video ends. In the comments below, I want you to write down the specific moment in your life when you first realized you didn't fit. The dinner table at 6 years old, when you felt invisible. The high school cafeteria where you ate alone for the first time. The wedding reception where you stood at the edge of the room. The family, Thanksgiving, where you finally understood you would never be one of them. Be specific. Name the room. Name the age. Name the feeling. Because something happens when a chosen one names the exact moment of their separation out loud. The shame around it breaks, and the seal on it begins to be revealed. You are not naming an embarrassment. You are naming a coordinate. The point on the map where heaven first whispered to you that you were not supposed to fit. I'll be in the comments reading, and I'll be praying over every coordinate dropped in that thread, because if you made it all the way to the end of this video, there is no version of reality where that was accidental. You were never out of place. You were always in position. Heaven was holding you exactly where he needed you to stand. And the door you've been standing in front of, all these years, is finally about to open. Stand ready, chosen one.